Friends, Americans, countrymen, lend me your eyes and ears. I come before you this afternoon to give you a rundown on some of my Nordic ancestry and the holiday spirits they used to enjoy amongst themselves, and occasionally little kids running around the kitchen table when the old farts weren't watching would imbibe in a little of that, those spirits from the great North Country, and nobody was the wiser, at least so we thought. Well, I made a trip down to the spirit world yesterday to pick up some of the old country's Aquavit. It's an old Danish, Nordic, Norwegian, Swedish delicacy. Back from the olden times, the very early 1800s, that was slugged down and enjoyed by many in North Country, or up there in the Nord. As Oli would say, up in the North Country, yeah, you betcha. And here I have today 3 bottles of that magnificent stuff to do a little holiday testing in preparation for the holidays to come. Also airing out my Santa Claus outfit to get the moss smell out of my costume, so I don't look so much like Santa Claus yet, but I will when I get my fake beard and my suit on. I'm just checking out the hat here while we speak. All right, let's start out with the first one that my old grandpa Christensen from Denmark used to enjoy every Christmas. And we have right here in front of us some Tafel Aquavit. Notice the Danes can't spell worth a damn. They got it Aquavit, Akvavit, but that's all right. We'll take it for what it's worth as it is. Now, this has got a lot of caraway seasoning to it. I mean, it's got a taste that's very unique, and I think very delicious. What the old farts would do is they would share this, a shot of this, with some lutefisk or some lefse, some pickled herring, dill pickles. This is a real delicacy to those old fellers. Every year during the holidays, when they'd get together, this was their drink of choice. Now you keep this stuff in the freezer. That's where you keep it. It's probably kept it in a snowbank or on an iceberg up there in the North Country. Back in those early times, it was way back before most of us alive today were even born yet, actually. And we're going to try a little bit of this Danish Aalborg after we put her in the freezer for a while. Get her nice and chilled, nice and cold. Yum, yum, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if I got any pickled herring around here right now or not. If not, I might run over to Hy-Vee, pick me up some of that too. And maybe dill pickle or two. In the meantime, this is going to be on the agenda, so if y'all stand by, we'll see how that comes out. And along with that, I was talking to the bartender down at Spirit World. They have a very, very unique Spirit World place here in town where they'll let you check out the liquor before you buy it, the whiskey, which is very unusual, I think. You can do this in a lot of wineries. But these guys down at Spirit World, which has been here since, oh man, I first started frequenting those people when a fellow named Denny Lewis owned it. We used to call it Denny Lewis's Spirit World down there on 74th and Pacific. I used to go down there every once in a while, stand up there at that whiskey bar, sample a bunch of whiskey, and I was just a young, in-debt guy back then, so I'd usually leave empty-handed after doing a bunch of sampling, and a little higher than when I went in, if you want to know the truth. But over the years, I got to know Denny Lewis pretty well. We got to be buddies. I wouldn't go in there and mooch off him anymore. I'd usually come out of there with something. 4 Roses whiskey or something really exclusive like that. Maybe a little Mad Dog 2020 wine, but as I was getting up in the world. For a while, I got hooked on that Mateus Rosé from over there in Portugal. And that was some good stuff. Yum, yum, but, you know, I tasted, gravitated toward the harder stuff over the years. Used to be a big beer man, but not anymore. I wouldn't fit the chairs if I kept up my discipline with all that beer rolling around in there anymore. So I'm down to the really good hard stuff now. And Aquavit, I'm proud to say is right along into that category. So the second one we're going to try is very unique. It's called Linny, and this one, by golly, it's Norski, real Norski. It's from Norway, something that those Vikings used to really partake of. It's very unique in that it's called the double across the equator twice, and the reason for that is that it was shipped in cherry casks, used cherry casks. And they sent it to Asia. In those days, of course, there wasn't any canal down there in Panama, so they had to go all the way around the Cape down there. And that, in order to do that, they'd have to cross over the equator. On the way down, they'd head up for Shanghai or Singapore, and they'd go over the equator again. Well, one of the first ships that went over there, had 5 casks of this on it. And the way they did it was these fellows would load up in Europe with a bunch of stuff and put it on the ship, and they'd run on over there, and they'd sell it after they got there. It was none of this consignment shipping or anything going on yet. They didn't have an internet, believe it or not. So that's how they did it. Well, they went over there and they stayed in port for a while. No matter how hard they tried, they just couldn't sell those 5 casks of Linny. So they said, well, we'll take it back home. It's not going to go to waste. We're not going to dump it, that's for sure. So they brought it back across the equator again on the way down, back up. So it's been across the equator twice. Well, they opened it up, they got back home, and they found out that all that sloshing around and the sea currents, the difference in the weather on the way over and the way back and all that had infused a particular flavor to the Linny that made it, I mean, ooh, yum, delicious. Even more delicious than it was when they started out. So that's the story behind your Linny. And this, of course, was made and distilled right over there in Lysholm, over in Sweden. And we're gonna freeze that, and we're gonna give that a shot too. Give it a little shot test. Okay, getting ready for Christmas. The Aalborg, of course, came from Copenhagen, near Copenhagen, over there in Denmark. Grandpa Christensen's hometown. Grandma Christensen, she was from Sweden, so I don't have any of the real Swedish stuff here, but it's all pretty similar as far as the recipes go up there in that North Country. Yeah, you betcha. Here, I want to try a very unique one, and I did not taste this one. It's now Lori Lewis's. I don't even know if her last name's Lewis. Some gal named Lori something or other bought Denny Lewis's Spirit World, moved her out there to Axarben Village. Had a hell of a time finding it. Hadn't been there for years since they moved, but I found it. And I was talking to the guy who was an Aquavit expert out there, and he said, you know, I've become pretty fond of this Tattersall stuff. I said, well, where's that from? What's its lineage? And he said, believe it or not, this here stuff's made right there in Minnesota. I couldn't believe it. I said, Minnesota? Well, but then it makes kind of sense when I thought about it, because a lot of these Nords, you know, they came over into Wisconsin and getting a little, I don't know who that is. I'm not going to answer it. Anyway, they came over into Wisconsin, Minnesota. Grandpa Chris said he lived up there around Anoka quite a while, just outside Minneapolis. Uncle Clarence and Aunt Annie, they were there from the time they came over till they passed away. They were Anoka residents. Then we had a bunch of our Jugal relatives, which, you know, the northern parts of Germany are, you can almost class them as Scandinavian. Really, back in the old days, there wasn't a lot of difference. Some people actually call this stuff schnapps because of the German part of the heritage that's involved with it too. So it's pretty similar. Anyway, this came from a distillery in Minneapolis. And the fellow there at Spirit World, used to be Denny Lewis's Spirit World, it's Lori's Spirit World now, I call it. He said this stuff's to die for. He loves Aquavit too, so I was really pleased to meet up with him. Didn't get the fellow's name, but if I ever go back, I'll get it again. So I thought to myself, well, you know, let's try this out. Let's see how good the Norskis could do over here in Minnesota, whether they can repeat the recipes and make them anywhere nearly as good as the originals from over there Sweden and Denmark and Norway and even Finland. So that's what we have, folks. This is what we have. We're gonna freeze this stuff up, then we'll be back and we'll give you a little rundown on each one. I think that's what we'll do. Then lo and behold, we're going to be ready for Christmas. I mean, big time ready. As soon as Marlene gets the pepper nuts out of the oven, we're going to be rocking and a rolling. Rocking and a rolling soon. Rocking and a rolling soon. Rocking and a rolling, rocking and a rolling. Rocking and a rolling soon. Merry Christmas almost. Happy Thanksgiving.